Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of The Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, Do Not Allow Disrespect Towards You from Others. One of the most important lessons you need to keep in your mind is how to handle situations that make you feel uneasy. You have to remind yourself of this constantly, because those moments show up more often than people like to admit, and if you are not prepared, you will default to silence when you should be speaking up. When someone says something that doesn't sit right with you, pay attention to that feeling. It matters more than you think. Whether it seems small or serious, it usually points to a bigger issue underneath. And ignoring that signal is how people slowly train themselves to accept things they should never tolerate. You might deal with a supervisor whose tone, demands, or comments keep putting you on edge. You tolerate it because you don't want to risk your job or your stability. That's real, and that fear is understandable. But that tolerance doesn't stay contained. It spreads, and before you know it, the same pattern starts showing up in other areas of your life. Now picture someone asking you something intrusive or slick in a way that feels like a jab. You hesitate. You don't speak up. Or maybe someone embarrasses you in public, whether it's a partner, family member, coworker, or a stranger. In any situation where someone's behavior makes you feel off, there's one rule you need to follow. Address it immediately. Do not let disrespect sit overnight, not even for a day. Because disrespect works like a crack. Ignore it and it grows fast, and what starts small becomes something much harder to deal with later. If you let it slide today, they will do it again tomorrow. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets to speak up. These moments stack up quietly, and you don't even realize the weight you're carrying until it starts affecting how you move, how you think, and how you respond to people. Over time, that weight chips away at your confidence. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how you see the world. You start asking yourself, why does this keep happening to me? And that question comes from everything you didn't check when you had the chance. That's why you deal with it early, before it settles in, before it becomes part of your normal. It doesn't matter who it is, neighbor, friend, family, stranger. The relationship does not excuse the behavior. If it makes you uncomfortable, it needs to be addressed without hesitation. Yes, it's uncomfortable to confront people. Nobody enjoys that. But leaving it unresolved builds frustration, and that frustration doesn't stay contained. It leaks into everything and can make you lash out at people who did nothing wrong. That's how unchecked disrespect poisons your life. Now here's the part people avoid. Every experience teaches you something, even disrespect. There is a lesson in it. But recognizing that lesson does not mean you accept the behavior or excuse it. It means you see it clearly and handle it properly without shrinking yourself to keep the peace. No matter what the fallout might be, personal or professional, you still address it. Your peace is not negotiable. And your dignity is not something you trade for comfort. Everyone deals with disrespect at some point. Nobody is exempt. You will meet people who cross boundaries, say slick things, or test you just to see what you allow. If you are in an environment where you stand out, you are more likely to be singled out. That is how group dynamics work, and pretending otherwise will not protect you. When you are the only one, you become the easy target, and that reality means you have to be even more aware of how people move around you. That is why it helps to be in spaces with balance, where no one person is constantly isolated. But if you are not in that kind of space, then you need to stay aware and stand your ground without hesitation. Here is the commitment you need to make to yourself. You do not allow disrespect. Not anymore. Not in subtle ways, not in obvious ways, not in ways disguised as jokes or misunderstandings. You do not accept being shortchanged. You do not tolerate manipulation. You stay alert. You trust your instincts, and you handle things when they happen. Because every time you ignore disrespect, it is like driving another nail into yourself. And over time, those nails add up in ways you cannot ignore. So do not let them stack. Address it every time. Protect your dignity. Protect your peace. This concludes this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Thank you for listening. Signing out. Goodbye for now.